Diretso na po tayo sa mga questions natin. The first question po is, from a Congress, what made you decide to go to Senate?
I think it is, to me, a logical progression. Congress is both a national and a local position, but as a congressman, I was principal author of landmark legislative measures, notably the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, Solid Waste Management, Biodiversity Protection, Coastal Resources, Caves Management, as well as other education measures. But I'm very proud of that record. And I believe that the Senate becomes also the platform, the arena, where we are able now to bring these national concerns on the environment and education, climate change, globalization, onto really the engagement with the global arena. So to me, I've worked heavily on democracy as well as human rights issues as Secretary General of the Council of Asian Liberals and Democrats. I've been in many respects the roving ambassador for all intents and purposes of the Liberal Party to the Liberal International, to the Council of Asian Liberals and Democrats, among others. So to be a senator is to really be a connector, a bridge, not only from the local to the national, but this time really from the national to the global or to the international.
Sir, para sa kagaya ko isang Manileño, I'm not a resident sa Bukidnon. So gusto ko malaman muna before I want to know more about Nerik Acosta as a future senator. Gusto ko muna makilala who is Nerik Acosta as a resident from Bukidnon.
Unang-una, ako po'y pinanganak at lumaki talaga sa Bukidnon. Yun ang sinasabing lumad na Mindanao. Talagang homegrown, katutubo in that respect. So talagang ang environment na pinanggalingan ko ay talagang yung probinsya, maaliwalas yung buhay. We had a very middle class, comfortable existence as a family growing up in the idyllic setting of Bukidnon. Parang Baguio yan ng South eh. Kaya siguro nag-umpisa ng maaga ang aking pagka-environmentalist dahil nakita ko talaga sa ganda ba naman ng kalikasan ng Bukidnon, yung the great outdoors. May mga iba't ibang trekking, hiking, mountaineering, horseback riding, yung very clean air, clean water talaga na surrounding. So ako naman ay lumaki na rin after that sa Manila at sa Amerika dahil doon na rin ako nag-higher education. Bumalik rin ako dito sa UP pero tuloy ang master's at PhD ko doon sa Amerika and I had the great opportunity also of having been able to travel around the world as a scholar, as an advocate, development worker, as a teacher. So combine that, Bukidnon is still my base. Para bang yun talaga yung inuuwian mo na pinakapugan. At yun pa rin ang nagbibigay sa akin ng tulak at masugid na gusto kong kung yun ang pinanggalingan ko. Sana naman yung ibang mga lugar nakikita ko at nakikita ko rin sa ibang bansa ay makakamit din na ganun maaliwalas para sa ibang lugar sa Pilipinas. So when I was authoring, for instance, the Clean Air Act, some people were asking me, why did it have to take a congressman from Mindanao, from the South, to really push for clean air, which is a very urban, especially Metro Manila concern or problem, or clean water or solid waste. Dahil ang sagot lang yan, simple. Dahil kung kayo'y makapunta sa Bukidnon, you will fall in love with Bukidnon easily. And if we could have this beauty and this great sense of the outdoors, at maganda at maaliwalas ang isang lugar sa parte ng Mindanao, bakit hindi para sa lahat ng kabataan at lahat ng pamilya sa buong Pilipinas? And that has been my environmentalist as well as an educator's calling, I believe.
Sir, who influenced you to run?
Ako naman, ako talaga'y sarili nang nag-isip nung nagma-masters pa ako. Kahit sa sa bachelor's pa sa UP. Dahil nasa student council na ako noon. Kami po yung isa sa naging kabahagi ng People Power noong 1985-1986. I was a senior political science student at UP Diliman. Kami po kasama nung nagkaisang tugon, which became a moderate sort of student party which made history in UP Diliman. Kami nila Chito Gascon. No? And so, doon nag-umpisa yung pagkapolitiko ko. Tapos nung tinapos ko na lahat-lahat, yung master's at PhD ko at bumalik na rin ako dito sa Pilipinas, ang nanay ko noon, na dating mayor, naging congresswoman, naging pinakamalaki kong impluensya sa politika. Pero really, honestly, ang parents ko ang nag-discourage pa sa akin na huwag pumasok sa politika at a very young age. 27 ako noon, bumalik ako pagkatapos ng PhD ko sa Amerika. Kasi natakot din sila siguro sa akin na baka hindi nga ako handa, matagal akong nawala. Pero nagkataon na may isang slot sa Bukidnon Provincial Board na tingin ko magkakataon. So, even against, in a sense, the better judgment perhaps of my parents, they said, maghintay ka muna, you should have more experience. Tinuloy ko. I always knew I was going to follow in my mom's footsteps. Both my siblings, sister and brother, largely apolitical. My father is a scientist. How apolitical can you get? No? Talagang ayaw sa gulo ng politika. Pero ako yung inclined na sumunod. So doon nag-umpisa, 1995, board member. At dahil meron na rin akong youth programs at radio programs, lalong-lalo na nakikinig sila sa mga programa kong dalawang public affairs every weekend. And nanalo akong number 1 board member. I topped the provincial board elections in 1995 and became the youngest in the history of the province. In 1998, dun ko na, tinuloy-tuloy ko na. Then I ran for congressman and became a 3-term congressman up to 2007. So ang nag-udyok talaga sa akin ay ang akin na ring sariling preparasyon dahil PhD at political science naman talaga ang training ko. At yung pagka-NGO development worker. At syempre na rin po, hindi may pagkakait na ang nanay ko po'y nakapaggawa na rin ng trail na madali ko na rin sinundan.
Sir, diretso na po tayo sa mga issues ngayon. So, during sa huling harapan na ibato sa inyo yung issue ng Hacienda Luisita nung kalaban nyo dun sa sa tingin nyo, sir, ano yung opinion nyo dun sa talaga? Kasi you were cut in short in 2 minutes. What was your opinion talaga during the discussion?
Well, first of all, it's sub judice, no? Meaning nasa korte na yan. In fact, may restraining order nga na hinihingi nga ng Aquino family or Coangco, in that sense, the Hacienda Luisita, na pagpapasyahan pa yan yung stock distribution option na pinili naman talaga ng workers. No? Sa ating pagkakaalam, 3 kalihim ng Department of Agrarian Reform ay sumang-ayon dito because it was really democratically chosen by the workers na instead of kanya-kanya redistributed land ay meron silang kapahagi sa kabuuan ng business, no, ng negosyo sa hacienda. Ang nakakaano lang dito, Floel, is that ito ipinagpipilit na parang si Noynoy Aquino at ang Aquino side ng Coangco na pagmamayari nitong angkan ay parang sila talaga ang nagdidesisyon para sa buong Hacienda Luisita negosyo. Noynoy share is only like less than 2%. And his sisters have always said na they're ready to give that up, to divest, that they have over time. Kaso lang, they have also, it's more complicated than that kasi nakabinbin din yung mga assets, yung mga utang, nakabinbin din yan sa mga bangko. No? Dahil hindi naman madalian na magpatakbo ng isang negosyo enterprise. Alam